Alright, let's talk about it. The New South Wales Blues wrap up the series defeating Queensland in the Cauldron, the Fortress Suncorp Stadium, 14 points to 4 in one of the craziest not only Origin matches but rugby league matches that I've seen. I fear the worst happened and what we were dreading, despite the game being super close for 60-ish odd minutes. There was one constant that shone throughout the series, and that was New South Wales and the presence of their big forward pack as well as their well-balanced bench. From a coaching standpoint, you could say it was a masterclass performance by Madge, a person that I saw plenty of pushback on his selection. Most of it was due to him not being an Origin player, which was kind of rough, and I thought unfair at the time given that he just came off a historic win with the Kiwis when they destroyed Australia. So with Madge's coaching style being somewhat of a perfect fit and the way he selected his team, the game plan was there for everyone to see. Super simple, which is Origin in a nutshell. They go blow for blow in the middle, bend or break, and unfortunately for the Queenslanders in game 3, they were the ones to falter. Like I said, it took 65 minutes for the first try to be scored. I will say, I questioned whether Queensland would have enough physicality to match the Blues. I was expecting huge games out of the Queensland forward pack, and that they did deliver on. In these grueling type of matches, most of the time it does come down to small moments, and sometimes those moments are caused by some ad-lib or second phase footy. This is another constant for the Blues throughout the series. Their offloads, they more than doubled Queensland throughout all 3 games. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for this game. Wally Lewis medalist Angus Crichton dishes it out the back. Connor Watson, he keeps it moving as well, and Jerome Luai burns Jeremiah Nanai, waits for Bradman Best, and it wasn't smooth sailing to the try line from there. Best had to beat like 3 defenders, 2 of them being his New South Wales or his Newcastle Knights teammates. So yeah, insane plays. Game-breaking plays by Luai, Best, Angus Crichton. Talking about constants, he was consistently one of the better players throughout the series. Before the series kicked off, we talked about him being on some kind of legacy run, and this kind of cements it. You know, if they go on to win the premiership, that'd be like a cherry on top of what's been, again, a legacy run for Angus Crichton. A run that didn't start until the middle of the season or just before it. The man was playing reserve grade this year, so the turnaround is bloody insane. Since we're here, we may as well heap more praise onto some other filthy roaches that I thought looked pretty good, not only in this game but in the series as a whole. So Jerome Luai had a really good series. He, I'd say, completely shakes that
He only succeeded when clear next to him
narrative. It's a BS narrative. You can't discredit him anymore unless you're just a blatant hater of the man. But yeah, he had a good series, and he showed just how expansive his skill set is. The way he shifted momentum with a dab into the corner, and those dropouts were on point as well. I think they were talking about the Blues having Mo'unga in their camp. They didn't say doing what exactly, but you'd assume it was for some tips and tricks around those drop kicks. Those were pressure releases tonight. How good was Isaiah Yeo off the bench? I think they stick with that little rotation they got going on. I did see prior to game 3 people saying that Yeo should be starting, but I think what they have going at the moment is perfect. Yeo actually has an impact coming off the pine. A few other players, some new players that probably solidified their spots in the team for series to come. Zach Lomax. You gotta give it to Flano, bruh. He chucked them on the wing. Lomax publicly said he didn't want to be on the wing, and now he's a solidified Origin starter unless, of course, he picks up an injury. He was solid once again tonight. Some tough carries, some decent defense on Queensland's side by Val Holmes, but ultimately he was the one looking likely to come down with it every time, and he took some pretty icy shots at goal. And that penalty kick from out wide, first of all, I wasn't expecting him to take the kick, but the man sinks it. He did it on both sides of the field as well. When you think of the moment and where they're at, like I said, icy. And lastly, Bill Edwards, another new face that was super influential since coming in. We talked about his playstyle just being tailor-made for the arena. And the type of match we got tonight is exactly the environment he excels in, or he thrives in. And he was everywhere. Those scoots had a dummy half too. When the Blues needed a little bit of go forward, they were pretty crucial, and he ended up picking up the man of the match too. Now there will be players that we miss. I do want to kind of keep this short and sweet. If we were to go through the whole team, we'll probably be sitting here for like 25 minutes. Lastly, Mitchell Moses. Unfortunately, his season's over, but this 7 jersey, I think, is his. No ifs, ands, or buts. Even if Nathan Cleary's like injury-free and brains it next season, I think Moses will be in that 7 regardless. Same goes for Luai in the 6. I'm assuming that's what people would be saying, to put Cleary in 6. I was saying to put Nico in 6 after bloody game 1, but yeah, Luai is, like Mitchell Moses, stitched his name on that number 6 jersey for the time being. Moving on to my beloved Queensland. Now, I can't really be too nitpicky on how they played. I do think their performance tonight was solid. Like I said with these rulers, it ultimately comes down to like individual lapses and small moments, and unfortunately for Queensland, they were on the wrong side of it this time. Defensively, I thought they were pretty solid, turned them away time and time again. I mean, I don't think it could have got any better with their goal line defense. The Blues pretty much pitched tents inside the Queensland 20 and the Maroon War held firm for a long time. That was the shining lights, their desperation in defense, and like I said, I wasn't expecting them to be this physical, but the way they took the fight to the huge Blues pack, I was pretty proud of. I was expecting the forwards to pop off, and that they kinda did. I just feel like they were a big man or two short. That pretty much is the case for this whole series. Not trying to make any excuses, cause yes, they were without Fausto Maliawi, Flegler, Gilbert, and saying that, there were some pretty decent middles to choose. Billy just had other ideas, I guess, with this sort of light approach with his bench. I did love the switching up of the starting pack, bringing in Mo Fotuaika, Felice Kaufusi, just to sort of weather that early onslaught, that initial first 10-15 minutes. Little did they know that that type of play would last for 65 minutes damn near. So the forwards, I can't give enough raps to. They did their job, they laid the platform. One of the problems heading into Game 3 was the lack of cohesion, lack of fluidity in attack with the backs. We sort of got that same type of performance tonight from a few of the big players in our spine. It's been the theme for the Maroons this series, and I think it led to their downfall. As soon as DCE got someone of equal skill opposing him, a few cracks started to show, and tonight in particular he had a game to forget. Harry Grant, we now know, was carrying an injury, but he had a pretty average series. Ben Hunt had a pretty quiet game, probably didn't recover after that Spencer Leniul stampeding. Hunt's courage to bear the brunt and ultimately come off second best. That was a bloody rough watch. I don't know how him and Angus came onto the field, but hey, I guess it's Origin, right? And yeah, we talked about the forwards laying a platform. A couple times when Ponga came onto the field, they had chances to go his way, but for some reason they dummied the open and played the short side, which just killed their flow or whatever little momentum they had going on. As for standouts, we'll wrap it up with a couple of shoutouts to Paddy Carrigan, who played outstanding. If the Maroons won, he probably would have picked up man of the match. That was my pick. Probably the best games we've seen out of him since his debut. And Tom Dearden, after an average second game, they were lining him up this game and he was knocking him down. The way he was defending tonight was world class. Trying to think of other standouts. Val on the wing I did like. Mo Fotuaika I thought was pretty impactful in the middle. Kaufusi at the start, weathering the storm, I thought was pretty good as well, but I'm looking at the stats here, he only played for 16 minutes. I don't know if he picked up an injury or not, but that's quite odd. I feel like they could have used him late in the second. They still had an interchange up their sleeve too, using only 7. I wonder what the go is with that. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. The Blues, consistent this series, and overall the better team, making history with a classic win, an instant classic. Hate to say it, but it is. So congrats to the Vultures, they snap a potential 3-peat. Now we turn our attention to the run home in the regular season of the NRL. If you enjoyed the video, boys, be sure to find a shoot at that like button for more rugby league related content or more content in general. Go ahead and drop your boy a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.